13 people killed in the first 15 days of this year. Parents dealing with the effects of gun violence sat down with WDRB to talk about how a Louisville program is helping their kids.
What WDRB's Christy Batista found out was that Future Healers is helping the whole family.
In order to get better, you have to practice. You ready? You sure?
Stevie Clayton and her dad spend quality time together after school, often playing games at the dinner table.
Going too fast for me.
At 8 years old, Stevie has dealt with things many of her peers can't even fathom.
I'm not scared of anything.
She wears these wristbands to remind her of her strength. Her brother was shot last year.
We've dealt with it firsthand. Our son was shot back in February. He barely survived, thank Lord. Stevie, our daughter, she has been impacted by it a lot.
Their son, Dominique, was one of more than 420 people shot last year. 160 others died by gunfire. That's nearly 600 families in Louisville directly impacted.
There's not really no stop to it, like especially with the way gun laws are going now. Like it just seems like it's going to get worse, but we try our best to fight against it without actually fighting against it, like a war.
These are some of those families. 8 parents sat down with us and opened their hearts. All of them have been affected differently, but all of them have one thing in common. Gun violence has changed their lives.
It's helped us live again. For us, we too were directly impacted. My children's father was killed. He was shot as well. And with that comes a lot of trauma. With that comes a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety, where even leaving the home can be extremely difficult.
And a program that is now changing not only their kids' lives for the better, but theirs as well.
If we had something like this when I was a kid, I might still have some friends, still living today, or I wouldn't have friends that's in prison, doing life in prison for gun violence.
There's a rule about the operating room. Do you know what you have to wear in an operating room?
Future Healers allows children impacted by violence to get into the hospital room with doctors and learn things like CPR or how to make a tourniquet.
Also learn that flamingos eat shrimp to get its pinkish color.
Future Healers got zoo buddies, takes them behind the scenes at the zoo to learn the anatomy of animals.
It provides an appreciation for life, to see what it takes to take care of another living thing, or what goes into the human body and the different parts that make it up. Just an appreciation for life and how trauma impacts the body. It's an eye-opener. My daughter, she now wants to be a nurse. Just after learning about the different parts of the body and being involved with U of L Health, she's considering that as a career path.
According to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, 2/3 of children have reported at least one traumatic event by the age of 16. Research shows survivors may experience learning problems, including lower grades and more suspensions and expulsions. It can also lead them to taking the wrong path.
But this program has helped these kids have something to do so they won't get captured by these streets out here. Because when I was coming up, it was a lot of gun violence, but it wasn't as much as it is now. But now we're looking at it like it's the norm.
3 weeks into 2023, nearly 20 people have been killed by gunfire in Louisville. These parents hope with programs like this,
I want to be a doctor or a nurse.
Stevie's generation will be the future doctors, nurses, veterinarians, zookeepers, and will stop the cycle of gun violence.
You don't have to be what you've come from or what you've been through. Like, you can choose your own path and you can become something better than anyone around you has experienced.
With photojournalist Frank Stamper, Christy Batista, WDRB News.